Okay. So if you see in the previous class, we had a data frame part 2. Okay. So once we complete this data frame part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, and part 5. So we have part 5 notebooks. If you complete all these notebooks, you are at almost 90% of transformations and actions are covered. So why data frames is so important? Even if you take certification, if you take Databricks certification, let me show you why Databricks data frames is so important. So if we go here, so this is the Apache Spark Developer Associate. Okay. So these are the certifications that we have: data analyst, data engineering. Anyway, we are going to touch data engineering part once we complete Spark. So you can write 2 certifications. One is Spark Developer, one is data engineering. If you want to complete data analytics as well, I'll help you on that. Okay. So if you see here, the portion of this one. So these are the application Spark architecture. So you'll get some 10 questions. Spark architecture applications, concepts and applications, you'll get some 7 questions. And remaining questions, 43 questions out of 60, 43 questions will come from DataFrame API. If you learn DataFrame alone, you'll pass the exam. Even not only in terms of certification, even if you go for real-time projects, DataFrame, you are going to use DataFrame 80 to 90% in your code, apart from configurations and architecture. Okay, so data frame is so important. Because of that, we have 5 parts here. Okay. So last time we have seen about column classes we have seen, right? So if you want to separate the column, you need to use column request, and you need to, whenever you are writing, you are going to use any expressions, APIs, you need to tell this is the column, this is the expression like this. And we are going to see each and every column functions that are available here. Already we have seen descending order, ascending order. In next 2 or notebooks, other notebooks will see cached and ASC as, okay. And then starts with, end with, already we have seen. So all these things we are going to see in the upcoming notebooks. Now we'll see what is the difference between filter and where condition. This is simple, straightforward, like how it works in SQL. It is going to filter the records based on the given condition. So based on the given condition, it will filter the records. But what is the difference between filter and where? Both are same. Only thing is filter you apply when you are applying functional programming language, where if you are from SQL background, that's it. Apart from that, both are same. So if I give data frame sort data frame dot where project is equal to en, so it is going to filter the records where project is equal to en. It will show the records only that project is equal to en. That's it. Like this. So you'll get the records like this. If I give the same thing for filter condition as well, if I use the filter here as well, this is also going to work same thing for you. There is no change between filter and where condition. It is also going to work same thing. Okay.
Sir, can we write the expression here?
Expression in the sense?
In the sense, suppose I'm looking for 50% of a specific column value should be equal to this. Like
See,
that.
condition, it's whatever the condition you want, you can write it.
I'm like we are passing the column name as a project. So what my question is, suppose if I'm looking for a salary plus salary 50% salary I'm looking for. Okay, so how are you going to write that, sir?
You need to have that condition where you need to have mean max value or salary greater than 50%. So you need to have that conditions.
Okay,
You
so
should have
within
the
this,
proper data. You should
no,
have
so
proper data.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So within this this double quote, I will write a project divided by 2 equal to, sorry, should be less than equal to 5,000, and I will
Yes.
include the this double
Yes. Yes.
quote, right, sir?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so within string I can pass. That is what is.
Yeah, you can pass whatever you want condition. See your condition. You can pass anything, whatever you want. You can pass the expression here. It is going to filter only that records for you. Okay.
Sir, can you add one more the filter conditions here? For example,
Yeah,
request equal to yes.
using and yeah, like
Yeah,
that.
Yeah, you can do that. You can give another filter condition like this, or you can use.
We need to give it separately or in the.
No, you can do two things. Either you can give one expression, okay, in this, and you can do that as well like this.
Okay. If
And
the
for in case of
request
or,
equal to,
we need to use pipe, is it?
Yeah, we have that symbols here. So if you go here at the bit below, so you have these symbols, not equal to set, equal to. So these symbols you need to see. For this is for Scala. For Python, you need to get that symbols, proper symbols, and start using that. You can try that. If you face any issues, let me know. Okay.
Yeah, sure, sir.
Yeah. I'll give more notebooks for practice. You have, whenever you go through these notebooks, right? Whenever you go to these notebooks, you have all these kind of examples. Databricks, DataFrame part 1, part 2, right? Here, if you go for part 2, you have all these kind of examples. See, this is about all the joints they are discussing here in this notebook. If you go for part 1, they're going to take about take, collect, and show here. And then if you go come down, so how to adding and renaming the column, how they are doing that here, they're doing that. So like this, filtering, selecting and filtering, casting the data types, repartition. So how they are going to do here. So here they are selecting few columns and then filtering. So if you see filter, project is equal to not, and filter they have given like this. So a number of filters they have applied. So if you see accommodation greater than 3, minimum insects is equal to 1, like to get the count of apartments where accommodation at least 3 people and where minimum height is 1. So if you have like multiple conditions, you can apply multiple filter conditions like this. Okay. So you can give to one and check whether it will work or not. So how to do the column function here we have seen. If you want to cast, so you have a lot of examples here where you can always go and practice these things so that you will come to know. If you have any issues, let me know. I'll help you. Okay.
Okay, sir.
But this is the basic one that you need to learn. First, you need to learn the conditions, then pass different examples so that you will come to know how it works. Okay. If I run this, so there is some expression here. So this AND operator we need to look into what is it. We need to pass exact AND operator. What is the operator here? Then it will work for you. Okay. Only this expression you need to write properly. It will work. So something I'll check into that. Okay. If you want to pass multiple things. Okay. Now, if you want to use starts with, so starts with special characters, I need to get this starts with special, but I made it as false. So what happens? This article, which is starting with this special, it is not going to come because I made it as false. So if I go and see this one, it will show the records because filter df is not defined. So let me run this code. Because this df is referring here, so I need to run that thing here. Okay. So if I run this now, so now I got where article not starting with special. If I made it as true, then it will come only the article that is starting with special here. See. So this is how you need to apply starts with or ends with. Okay. And you can have multiple filter conditions. So if you want to use AND condition, so we have that as well. So I'll show you that. I got it now where it is. So you can use like filter conditions, but this is not the good way of coding. You can use like this AND operation. The filter where project is called not null and you need to use column project like this. So you need to have this and condition like this. So you need to tell explicitly which column you want to do. So this is how you need to pass n number of filter conditions like this by using AND operator. Okay, you can use one filter and you can have a number of AND or OR operations. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So anyway, this I'm going to teach you. This is the bad way of writing the code, good way of writing the code. So we are going to see about this thing at the later point of time. Okay. So now we are going to see what is first and head. So there is not much logic that is available here. It is going to return you first row of your data frame or data set or a table. It is going to return first row of your table data. So returns the first row, that's it. So it is not much. If I give article data frame dot first, in this data frame, it will return you the first row. To give the first row where project is equal to n, article is equal to this one, and request is equal to this one. It will provide you the first this one. Even if you give head, this is also going to provide you the same thing. Not much different. It is going to provide you first row for you. If you see it's a row, so it will provide you the first row of record for you. Now, if I want to apply, if I want to see the row classes, so suppose
Sir, can you
this is,
scroll up a bit?
yeah,
The first one. Sir, this first row is again a data frame or it is something else? The
it's a row,
return
it's
of
a
the
row,
head.
it's a row,
It's just
that's
a
it.
row.
Yeah. If you want to see this is data frame or not, you need to use show
Type.
command. If it is showing show command or display, then it is a data frame.
No, I was just looking for what is the type of first row.
See, this is not a data frame.
Okay, sir.
This is going to return in a row, return a row. It is not going to return results in a data frame.
Okay, sir.
It will return in the form of rows for you. Okay.
This is a function, right, sir? Function, right? First row.
Yes. Yeah, first row. That's it. So even if
So
you
just,
display, this will fail because
just,
this is not a data frame.
sir, just check the type of the first row. What is the type?
Type in the sense.
I mean, like which date? I mean, like is it uh, data frame or set or something like that?
It's a row. It's a row. It is going to get the row for you. That's it.
Ravi, this is an inbuilt function using for to display only the first row.
Mm-hmm.
So even if you give this one first and check whether this is going to provide you the data frame or not. See, if you want to check whether it's data frame or not, you need to either use show command or display command. If that is showing, then it is a data frame.
No,
Otherwise,
sir.
it's a
We,
function.
we can use type function, or the type in which we will pass this first row and then it will give the what it is actually.
You want to type this one,
Yeah, yeah,
Python one, built-in function.
yeah, sir. Type and just pass this.
This is a row, SQL
Oh,
row.
SQL row it is. Okay,
Yeah.
sir.
That is what, right? See, definition itself, it is saying return the first row. That's it. So you have a definition that is marked like this for each and everything. You need to refer this one. Okay.
Okay, sir. Yeah.
Okay.
So these whatever notebooks we are going through,
Hmm.
it's embedded in your this account. So can we
Hmm.
take the printout of this notebook? I mean, like which give this text also and this examples also.
Why you want printout? You can store this in your notebook. You need to practice these things, guys. Okay.
No, that is fine actually. I mean, like sometime I prefer rather than laptop, I prefer using reading using the hard copy.
In that case, what you need to do, you need to export all these things to some PDF. Okay. You need to take screenshots because this is code. Okay.
Okay.
And from this, you can't see if we see here, I never tried. You need, if you have an export as a HTML file, you can take as HTML file. Okay. Let me show you. So when I give as HTML file, open. Where it is. downloads. We'll see how it opens here. This you can take print out. Okay.
Yes, sir.
You need to export each and every page. But before you export, make sure you run that code.
Yes, sir. It will have the output as well.
Output.
Correct.
Otherwise, you won't have that. Okay.
Yes, sir. Got it, sir.
And for this Databricks, right? So if you want some sample questions, 60 questions that you have, so at the bottom you have, once you go to this URL, Databricks Spark, so you can make a note of this, this one. I'll share you that in the group chat as well today.
Yes,
So if you go to this path, you have sample questions here at the bottom. Before taking exam, it is required that you to complete practice exam. So if you go for Python, so they have given 60 questions for you here. So leave first 10 questions about the Spark architecture, which I'm going to discuss at the later point of time. The remaining things, like from 8th question onwards, you can go and test your knowledge. Practice these things and you have answers at the bottom. You have answers at the bottom. Okay. Like how to, which of the following code block reads Parquet file? So you know how to read Parquet file. Can you tell answer which one it is here? Anyone? How to read Parquet file?
D,
The
sir.
first one.
First
D.
one. Any other guess?
No, D1, sir. Not the read.
Yeah. C. Because first one A, this read operation is not there. This one.
Yeah, correct.
Okay. So when you practice these things only, you will come to know exact things. So all are look similar only, but only they will make you confused. Okay. So answer is D for 59. So if you go and see, so answer is D for 59. So like this, you need to test your knowledge. Okay. So which of the four, read how to read the JSON file? Which one is this one? And they're saying with specified schema.
Sir, E. Last one.
Last one E.
Schema format JSON.
See, if you see here, they will confuse you only this and this. Only different is the schema they have given double quotes here,
Yes, sir.
right? So you should be very clear about your code. Even it should what you need to pass either string or variable. So that is what the answer is E. So with they'll confuse you. If you're good at this thing only, then you can answer these questions. So this is about the repartition. Anyway, repartition we are going to see. This is about which of the data frame stores the file path in the Parquet. Parquet we have seen right already. So they are going to write the data. So which one is here? Writing the code in the Parquet format. I have a data frame. They have a data frame. So I want to write the data to this file path as Parquet. So what is the code here? Which one?
C, sir.
Which one?
E.
C.
E. One second.
It's E. Okay.
E, sir. E.
C.
No.
E
It's
for
a
elephant. E for
E.
elephant.
Yeah. It's not C because you don't have any function like write or
Yes.
read. I think
Yes,
Surendra,
yes,
you are just
Surendra,
confusing the thing.
read and write not required this bracket.
I understand. Yeah.
Okay. So these are the things like that. Okay. So they will give the code like this. They will give two data frames. They're saying like I have you need to fill this one. So this is about the joins, which we are going to see, and broadcasting we are going to see. So this is how they will provide you. So they'll give some data set. They'll ask you to write the code like this, how you are going to convert this thing. About collapse repartition, we are going to see that. About caching. So we have seen already caching, right? So if we see which of the following operations used to cache the data frame in Spark memory, assuming the default argument can be updated. So which one here? Should be default only in Spark memory. Data frame only in Spark memory. Which one?
Default, right? That is
E,
only
sir.
for
E for elephant here also.
cache. We used to use the
Cache is
cache.
always going to store the data in memory. Okay. And then if you want to update this, if you want to have disk and then you need to go for persist. So like this, just go on. So we have seen about create data frame already. So you can go to that. And if you want to execute SQL query, so what you need to do here, I have a SQL query. I want to execute SQL query.
Spark.sql.
Yes, we have seen this. Yeah. So you need to practice, guys. When you practice, you will answer these things easily. Okay. So apart from that, I'm going to provide you another 120 questions for you. First, complete this, whatever you can complete here, complete it, because still we are, see here we have seen, which of the following operations can use to return top n rows from the data frame? Top n rows means what we need to use?
Sir,
Top n
D.
rows?
Show n.
No, it's a rows. It's not a data frame. From a data frame. Okay, top n rows from the data frame. Okay, which one?
D, I guess.
No, show will provide you this thing, but it is going to provide top n rows. I have a data frame. From that, I should not result the results. It's not like results I want. I want n rows.
I think head, sir. See.
No,
Okay.
head will provide you only one. Okay.
Collect हो सकता है
Yeah,
उसका.
we are going to see that collect option here. Okay, 38 is collect.
It's just a
Collect
plus.
or take of n, both will work. We'll sure going to see now here. Okay, in our thing. That is what I'm going to show you here. Whatever I'm teaching here, everything is important for you. For your collect, take. I'm going to show you now. Okay.
So this is for associate Databricks engineer, right?
Spark. Purely Spark. Guys, if you learn Spark, you can work in open source. You can work in cloud, any cloud, Azure, AWS, Google, Databricks. You can work anywhere because Spark is a Apache open source, and this has been integrated in cloud as well. Even if you learn Spark, you can work in Azure Synapse Analytics as well. Okay.
Sir, this I mean, like if we learn this Spark, Python and SQL core, so we can learn even for other cloud also as well. Like I mean, like go for
Yes,
other
other
cloud,
clouds also same.
AWS.
Spark, SQL, Python, everything is same.
Okay. Only the terminology we need to check there.
See, terminology, this Databricks, now I have this account, right? Community edition. So instead of that, this workspace will be launched from Azure. If you are working from Azure, you onboard Databricks in Azure, you will click that launch workspace Databricks and it will open this page for you. And this page remains same. There is no change. Even if you open this from Azure, AWS or Google, this Databricks workspace remains same for you.
Only the storage and all bucket and all will come, right?
See, the data source is up to you based on your project from where you are pulling the data.
Okay.
It is purely your project specific.
Hmm.
Okay, you just need to have the connection point, get the data, do transformations, and if you want to apply some machine learning models, apply, and finally you can write this data into data lake or data store or analytics store or dashboards. Okay. Now we are going to see about, so let me go back. So we have seen first and head. It is going to return only first row for you. Now we are going to see the collect. So what is collect is going to do? It returns an array that contains all the row in the data set. It contains all the row in a data set. Means I have a data frame or data set. Whenever I give data frame dot collect, let me remove this code. So let me remove this code first. Data frame dot collect means it will provide all the data from this data frame. It is going to return an array that contains all the rows in a data set. So it is going to return an array whenever I use collect. So if you see, it is going to return all the rows. So if you want to see the data in this all the rows, you can print this one. So if you use for loop for in rows, because I have rows, for rows in rows, I'm going to get first row and I'm going to print project and total. So if I have 100 columns, 100 rows, it will be iterated 100 times. So this will show me the data like this. I'm just iterating, that's it, to print that. Because each row has article request and it has data. Because I have huge data, so it is taking time.
What is the list item plus you use, no? Plus are required.
Which one?
Line number 5. List
See,
item.
this is the list, right? So I need to keep on adding. So first I'll get first row. I'll get first row. I'll print that first row. I'm going to add this list.
Mhm.
So once adding this list, so if I have 10 rows, I'll add all the 10 rows to this list, and I'm going to print that list here. Simple, in the HTML code. If I print this, so it is going to print that HTML code for me. It will print all the records here like this for me. If you have 100 records, it will print all the 100 records. That's it. Just a print command. That I'm collecting all the rows in a list, and I'm going to print that list. Suppose if I want to limit only 10 records, I can use limit of 10, and I'm going to collect only the 10 records here. 10 rows. So now if I run, it will have only 10 rows. It will iterate 10 times, and it is going to store all the 10 items in this list, and it will print only the 10 records here. It will print only 10 records for you like this. So simple thing, what collect is going to provide? Collect is going to return an array that contains all the rows in a data set or data frame. So it is going to provide you all the rows. If you have 10 million records in the data frame or data set, it will get all the records for you. Now, if I want only first 5 rows or 6 rows, then return first n number of rows in a data set. So to answer this question, right, whatever we have seen here, to answer your question here, we have seen that, right? This one. So they're asking which of the operation can be used to return top n rows from the data frame. So they're asking to get only the top n rows. If I give top 5, it will return top 5. So what is the answer for this? Take of n. Collect. For collect, you can't pass any parameter. So it will return all the things. This is wrong. And show, this is just to display a data frame. But they're asking to return you n rows. Who is going to provide the rows? Either take or head. Head will provide you only first row. And show, this is the representation of your data frame. Simple. Only the thing is collect. For collect, you are not going to pass any argument because collect will provide you all the rows in a data set. Only the option is take of n. So when I give take of n, it returns first n rows in a data set. If I give take of 5, it will return top 5 rows for me from the data set, and it will print the top 5 records for me. Understood?
Yes.
We are not going to use these things in a project, but if you want to see, if you have 1 TB file or 1 terabyte of file you store that in a data frame. So if you want to see all the data, it's impossible. It will take some time to load. So in that case, you can limit the records like 5 records. It will get first 5 records. Or if you want to fetch that in the row and you want to iterate something, then you can always go and use either take of n or collect. Okay. Got it, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Prashant, are you able to understand the things because you are silent?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now, already we have seen the difference between data frame and data set, right? So the basic difference between data frame and data set is data frames are used for Python and R programming language, and there is no such concept that is loosely typed because data frame and data set, that is R and Python, they are loosely coupled. They don't have any type safe like this. But data set, that is when we use Java and Scala concept, these languages are type safety. Because of that feature, we use data set. If you go for Scala and Java programming, data frame, and we go for Python or R programming is Spark. Apart from that, nothing different. Both are same. Okay. So you can go through these things and practice this thing. And now onwards, for each data frame, you have a lab. So if you go to the lab here, once I complete data frame part 2, So they have given code here for you already. So if you go here in Scala, if you go to the Scala here, just to get that lab thing, DataFrame part 2, lab. So here they'll give the exercise for you like this. They'll give some classroom setup. They'll give the file. So they have some Parquet file. They will ask you to fill in the code. This is written in Scala. You can write the code in Python. Okay, just remove this val and van and how to iterate that. So they'll give the scenario for you what to do here. What to do? They'll provide you the scenario here. So you need to fill that code here. How to read the Parquet file. Like, so you need to fill in this code. So if you want solutions for this, let me go to the Python. You have a solution folder here. DataFrame, part 2 lab. So if we go here, so this is how you read the Parquet file. Okay, so starts they are given the ends with here, and like operation. This is how you need to use like end operator, and they are going to collect. Collect means they are going to collect all the records, all the rows from this data set based on this filter condition, and take off 100. So if you take off 1000, it will take first 1000 rows like this. So they are just reiterate because they are collecting in the rows. So they will iterate each and every array row, and they are going to store in this list, and then they are going to print that. So this is how CPC column is called project, and column article ends with like this. You can have multiple conditions like this. You can do sum, you can do first row like this. So you can do all these stuffs like this. So we have examples here, which you can always go and verify your examples, practice things. Okay. This notebook talks about filter. We have seen column functions, ends with, and then we have seen about collect, take. So these are the things that will be described in the DataFrame part. So you need to practice these things a lot. Okay. So for each notebook, you have a solutions like part 1 lab, part 2 lab, part 3, part 4, which you need to complete these things. Let me go with our notebooks now. So any questions here from anyone?
Sir.
Yeah.
So like in Python, right? Like in NumPy and pandas, like we were showing the top 10 rows will be using like df.head and will pass in 10 parameters. Like here, like just df.take and pass in the n parameters. Like a little bit confused. Can we pass that pandas code in this? Like, will it work? So,
No, you need to convert that pandas data frame to Spark data frame, and then you need to use
okay.
Spark functionality. If you want to use this, see, both are different here. Spark is different, pandas is different. Okay.
Okay. So this is like Spark data frame, right? So
yes, Spark data
that
frame.
will,
Yeah. Yeah. In Spark
okay.
data frame, whatever the APIs that we have, you need to use that.
Okay.
If you have Python data frame, what you need to do, you convert that Python data frame to Spark data frame like this, which I have shown you already, but I'll show you.
Yes. Yes. Sir.
So in this notebook, you have that, right? The Spark session. So you just convert that Spark data frame to Python data frame to Spark and start using Spark APIs like this. So you have Pandas data frame. So this is Pandas data frame. You have data frame like file and just Spark that create data frame, pass that
Data frame. So that will convert.
Yeah. And then you can use our Spark APIs here. Okay.
Yes. Sir. Okay.
Okay. Now in this notebook, we are going to see few things. Okay, let me just connect this one. Download this one. So I'll paste that link here. Okay. Now let me run the classroom setup here. Now what we are going to do. So before I start this one, I need to explain the concept of repartition here. So before I go into this notebook, already we have seen partitions, right? So everyone is about good at partition. What is a partition? How partitions will be created in Spark. So Spark will take care of partitions. So who is going to decide the number of partitions? Spark will decide the partitions, based on the file, correct? Based on the file and format, file size and the format. So if you see here, let me just attach this one. Let me run this one. So I'm just reading the CSV file, okay, TSV file, tab separated file, and I'm going to read the data and I'm going to store the data in the data frame. So now you know all this code. So going further, I'm not going to explain this code. You need to understand. If I say data frame, I can read either TSV Parquet files and I have created the data frame. If you want to see the number of partitions for this data frame, then you need to use rdd dot dataframe dot rdd dot get number of partitions. So the Spark will decide like how many partitions that are required for this. So it has 8 partitions. By default, Spark has 8 partitions, but based on the file, it will either increase or decrease the partitions. Now I have a Parquet file. So already we have seen. So I'll read the Parquet file and store the data in the data frame. If you want to see the partitions in this data frame, rdd dot dataframe dot rdd dot get number of partitions. So I have 5 partitions here. So with this, what you need to conclude, Spark will take care of your partitions. So why partitions are required? To achieve parallel processing. So if you want to achieve parallel processing, then you need to go for partitions. If you see in this Parquet file, in this path, you can see part 01, 02, 03, like part files will be available. That is called partitions. Now, you might get one question. Sir, I'm not satisfied with this parallelism. I want to still achieve more parallelism. If you have more number of partitions, then you can achieve more parallelism. So what happens? I want to increase these partitions from 5 to 10 so that my job will run faster. Or I don't want partition concept. I just want to store the data in one single file. So I want only one partition, one single file. I don't want multiple part files here. So if you want to increase or decrease the partitions, or you want to define your own partitions, then we have a concept called repartition or collapse. So these both things, repartitioning or collapse, is going to return a new data set based on the partitions that you provide. So if you see here, so first we'll go with collapse. Suppose how many partitions I have here? I have 5 partitions. So if I want to decrease from 5 partition to 3, 4, or 3, 2, 1, from 5 to 4 I can do, 5 to 3 I can do, 5 to 2 I can do, that I can do by using collapse. So if I give collapse like dataframe dot collapse, if I give collapse COAL collapse of 4. So it will convert from 5 partitions to 4 partitions because this data frame has 5. Now, if I want to convert into 2 partitions, so it will convert to 2 partitions. So collapse. But what happens? I have 5 partitions here. Default partition is 5 in this data frame. If I convert this to 5 to 10, we'll see what happens. If I give 10 partitions, it is currently staying at the 5 partition. So if we see definition of collapse, if you see the definition of collapse is a narrow transformation, can be only used to reduce the number of partitions from the current partition. So my current partition for this data frame is 5. So when you use collapse, I can always decrease the number of partitions from current partition. So current partition I have 5. So from 5 to 4 you can do 5 to 2, 3, 2, 1 like that. But you can't increase the number of partitions from the current partition. It will always reduce the number of partitions from the current partition. That is called collapse. And repartition in the sense, you can either reduce or increase the number of partitions. Now I have, so let me use this repartition here. Repartition of, let me reduce from 5 to 4. So repartition will reduce from 5 to 4. Okay. Clear? it has done. So you can reduce from 5 to 1 as well. So you can reduce. So it has done to 1. So if you want to reduce to this from 5 to 100, you can do that. So it will reduce the number of partitions from the current partition or increase the number of partitions from the current partition. So now it has been returned from 5 partition to 100 partitions. So 100 part files will be available here if you want to see 100 partitions. But you should keep in mind, we should not go more than 200 partitions as per Spark defined. So you should not go more than 200 partitions as a best practice. Okay, whenever you go repartitions, don't go, even if you give 1000, it will do 1000 for you. But as a best practice, you should not go more than 200. Because this small file has been written into 1000 part files, which is in KBs. And if you want to read some data from that 1000 part files, you'll hit the performance. Because that data has been distributed across executors. So it's very hard for them to find. So always we need to maintain the partitions below 200 as a best practice. Okay.
So whatever the size, right? Whatever the size.
Yeah, whatever the size is, below 200 is a good partition. Even it's TB petabytes, go for below 200. This is defined by the Spark technical team. Okay.
Okay, sir.
But you won't do this many things in your thing. This only comes when you do analytics, this kind of stuff. When you have this social media apps where you are facing some issue to load the data, this kind of where you can do. But for us, 10, 15, 100 or below 20, 30, that is more than enough for us. Okay.
Usually in the real time, how much they will use, sir?
We'll go for default partition only in real time. That Spark will take care, right? Whatever. So on top of that, if they still want performance, we'll increase the, suppose the default partition is 8. So what I will do, I'll increase this to some 15 and I'll check my performance. So if it is well and good, they're satisfied, I'll go with that.
Okay.
There is no thumb rule like, okay, for this data size, I need to go this much of partitions. No, not like that. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Now let me go to the DataFrame part 3. So here, while reading itself, I'm reading Parquet file and I'm going to use repartition and I'm going to make it as 8 partitions. Means, so whenever you see, so make sure that by transform operation do not repartition to 200. So you should not go more than 200. They are clearly saying we should not go to more than 200. So here I'm passing 8 partition. That 8 partition will come here. So it is going to write 8 part files and I'm going to cache this data frame. So if you see, I'm handling the partitions and I'm caching my data frame here. So let me run this. So I have a data frame which is cached and which is properly partitioned. So now if you see, I have read the data, I have balanced the number of partitions, I have cached the data and shuffle operations as well. Shuffle partition is nothing but whenever you have this white transformation. So this is repartitioning is white transformation. Whenever you have white transformation, the data will be shuffled from one part file to another part files. Okay.
In line number 90, repartition bracket partition should be there.
Yeah. See, if you don't mention this, Spark will take care of default partition. Okay. But I want to have 8 partitions for this. Okay. I want 8 part files so that I can achieve some performance. In that case, you mentioned the part. See, instead of here 8, I have mentioned like this. I have mentioned this thing extra. You can directly pass here, or I'm passing the parameters like this. Here, this partition will come here. That's it. You can pass the number here, whatever the number you want here. How many partitions you want? See, repartition, what it will do, if the default partition for this file is 5, so it will convert from 5 partition to 8 partition. Okay, if you give 1 partition here, so it will convert all 5 partition to 1 partition, 1 single file. Any questions, guys, here?
Sir,
No, sir.
Yeah.
So there's written like there's concept, right, sir, in this partition, like in coalesce and repartition, the shuffle write and shuffle read. So
Yeah.
what does, like, can you?
Shuffle right in the sense you have a part files, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you are going to do a partition, I'll give one simple example for you. Okay. See, I'll give real-time example why we use this collapse and repartition, how this shuffle will happen. Okay. So what happens, one of the developer, when I was working in Unilever, so he's reading the data from source system. Okay. And he's running some job to read the data from some source system like S3, Amazon S3. And he need to write the data into ADLS Gen 2. So he is reading the data and he is writing the data to ADLS Gen 2. And if you, what happens, he has facing some performance issue because that job should complete within 30 minutes of time, but it is running almost 8 hours of time. It is taking 8 hours. So we have gone through the code, what he has written. What happens when he read the data or when he write the data, he used the collapse. He use collapse function here. So he use collapse of 1. So what happens? He is reading terabytes of data and he is writing the data into single file. And we asked him why you are writing the single file. Okay, 1 second, guys. So we asked him why you are writing this single file, the data. Because if you write to single file, we can't achieve parallelism in Spark, which is already built in. So because of that collapse of 1, it is going to write into single file, and they are not running the code in parallel. They are not loading the data in parallel processing. So because of that, the job is taking huge time. So what happens? His requirement is like he want to write into single file. So based on requirement, he has written code. But when you write the code, you need to make sure that it should utilize the Spark functionalities like parallelism, caching, all these things. So he is not utilizing that parallel processing. So for that, what we have requested, go for repartition and use like 8 or 10 partitions, write this data into 10 files, or 10 part files or 15 part files. Okay. And then run your code. So once you have completed your code, there is a technique like if you want to, now I have, suppose I have used repartitioning of 100. So, or 100 files. So what happens, I'm going to write the data into 100 part files, small files, partition files. So now I have written all the data into 100 part files. So there are a lot of commands to merge this all 100 part files into one big file. So we have optimize command in the Databricks. So if you give optimize of that path, it will combine all the small files into big files, into one single file, 1 GB file, 1 GB file, like that. So we have some techniques to merge all the files, small files to big file, and then you can use this code, you can use this data to your source system or anyone who has that requirement for single file. Now coming to your point, shuffle read and shuffle write. So what happens, right? If you have the data across 100 part files, you have this data. I have a single file, customer file. That customer data has been split into small chunks called partitions, means 100 part files. If you want to read the data where customer is equal to so and so, it will search the data from all the 100 part files, means the data will be shuffled across each and every partition and it is going to get the result for you. That is called shuffle read.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because you have data across, it's not in single file, right? See, your 1 GB, suppose you have 1 GB file. So 1 GB file has been split into 10 files, 10 MB, 10 MB, 10 MB, 10 MB, 10 MB. Okay. Customer ID is equal to so and so name. That data is available across all 10 files. Means the data should shuffle each and every time from the partition, and you need to get the result. Correct? So that is called shuffle read and shuffle write. Okay.
Okay. So
So
like
whenever you are writing,
yeah, sir, like coalesce in this case, no, like if you want to read the data first, like coalesce will like it will partition like nearby things only, like 1 to like 10 elements in the data. Like if we have like 5 partitions, like 1, 2 will be there, then 3 and 4. So nearby data will be there, no sir, in coalesce. So
Yes,
in that
yes.
case, we'll read faster and coalesce, I think. So why will be going for repartition? Because it will shuffle in different format, like 1, 3, then random, like that. So
Yes, yes. But if you want more parallelism, whenever you are reading the data, suppose I have requirement, I have 1 TB file. Okay. But Spark default partition is taking some 5 partitions or 6 partitions, which you have not satisfied. So if you want to increase your performance, then you need to see coalesce will always decrease the partitions. So you have 5 partitions now default. If you give coalesce, it will come 4, 3, 2, 1. Still, you are not going to satisfy your performance, right? If you want to increase the performance, then you need to go for repartition.
okay.
It's purely based on your requirement. The coalesce will always decrease the number of partitions. Simple thing. It won't increase the partitions default partition. Spark has default partition based on the file format and data. If it is giving 5 partitions, you can decrease from 5 to 4, 3 to 1. That's it. But if you want to achieve performance, my job is running 1 hour. So I want to decrease time from 1 hour to 30 minutes, then increase partition from 5 to 10. So it will run much faster. But you can't achieve that with coalesce. Right?
Okay.
Okay. So this is very important, guys. Coalesce and repartition. Go through some interview questions. Go to this topic, execute this, play with this code. Then you are going to learn this thing much faster. I'll teach you the basics. Once after teaching, you need to plug and play with these things, guys. Okay. You have a lot of examples here. Just go through this. You have a lot of materials that I have given here. You can go through that theory, read these things, what it is going to do here. So by default, you need to read all this stuff, whatever I have given in comments. Then you'll come to know in depth. Okay. So any questions here? So I'll stop here for repartition. So tomorrow we'll continue this one. Okay.
Okay.
Any other questions from anyone?
No, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So whenever you are searching, what you do, right? First search with like Databricks Spark. Like you can use Databricks Spark coalesce and repartition. Examples like that. Examples. So if you search here, right? So there is Spark by example. This is also good one. You can go Spark by example. Or if I go with Stack Overflow, they are discussing something here. Okay. And if you go for Databricks, right here, so you'll get some document from the Databricks.
In the chat GPT also gets us, right?
Which one?
Chat GPT earlier.
Mostly it is getting down actually. Not able
Yeah.
to use.
See the whatever you get, so you have api.docs. This one. So if you go, this is Spark documentation. This is also documentation. So you have some examples. Each and every example, you'll learn something new. So you just need to go and check these things. So this is Databricks docs. This is about the coalesce function. So how they are going to see coalesce, they are using SQL here, how it is going to work here. So like this, you'll have n number of examples. See, you have n number of ways now. You just need to search proper thing and start running. See, basics here you have how to use in project, what to use. See, if you learn these things, this is more than enough for you. But apart from that, if you want to search, go and utilize these things. They are using open source Spark code here. They are not using notebooks, but this code and all same for you. They are using parallelize method here. RDD they are using to explain you. Like this, you need to explore things, guys. Okay. I'll give more notebooks. First, complete these notebooks, whatever I have given. Don't go for Google search and all. Complete these things. I'll give still 2 more notebooks for you to practice along with. First thing is you need to complete the Spark ILT and Databricks Spark certification. If you do these things, 95% of the things that you do in real-time project all the things you can refer from this and you can write your code. 95% of things in your code, because these notebooks has been decided by Spark expert team, technical team. Okay.
Okay, sir. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. See you tomorrow again.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.